Okay, no. The feds did not find us. The feds did not find us. I had a little scare there. I was outside smoking a minute ago and there were some blue lights coming up the street. But nobody knocking on the door yet. Good morning! All right, it's the Brushfire Mind, and today is the 1st of March. Got no overlays, got no articles this morning. Tomorrow we're going to have a very interesting conversation, but because today is the 1st of March, and frankly, this was Cameron's idea, here's what I want to put out there. I kind of touched on the blame game stuff last week, but Joe Biden has been the president now for 1 month, and what have we seen? We've seen nearly 100 executive orders in the first month. Guys, in the first 3 days, he signed more executive orders than the last 4 presidents combined signed in their first 30. Let's not forget, we're talking about Joe Biden, who criticized Donald Trump, saying anyone who has to rule with executive orders is a dictator. And now we've seen that Biden, there's a fantastic meme going around that says, hey, somebody slipped Biden's resignation on the desk because he's just going to sign everything that comes in front of him. And, okay, let me address a comment then. Steve says, I think we should shoot that one after he edits the damn short film we already shot. Yes, Steve, I know. I wanted that film to be ready already, but we have to reshoot parts of it. And that's going to be a whole nother conversation, which we're going to have to schedule. I was hoping for sometime in March, but it looks like I might be about to have a busy March. So the next time we can put together a weekend that we get that crew back at the location, I want to do that as soon as possible and finish Cabin Fever. But we have a lot of reshoots to do, unfortunately. And some of it comes down to some technical stuff that we have to cover. So, what are we going to see from Biden going forward? Well, let's start with what we've already seen. We've had Biden as the president for just over 30 days. We've already seen our gas prices go up ludicrously. The cost of a barrel of oil has almost doubled since he took office. We're already seeing more record high unemployment claims, but the news doesn't want to report that because, well, not our golden boy. No. You're not going to see reporting on the major news networks about Joe Biden. Now let me make sure that sentence was perfectly clear. What I did not say is you will not see reporting about the mistakes that Joe Biden makes. And what I did not say is that you will not see reporting about the things that Joe Biden gets right. That is because Joe Biden will get 0 things right. I'm going to hedge that a little bit in just a second, but just a little bit. But Joe Biden will get 0 things actually right. Everything he does will fail, technically. And the media just is not going to print criticism of Joe Biden unless things change dramatically in this country. So you're just not going to see him in the headlines very much. And that's because the media is pro-Biden. They are on team not America. Now, that's not some revelation. I'm not shaking anything up saying that. That's obvious. But think back to the Obama years. For 8 years, there was a constant narrative that everything wrong with America is George Bush's fault. Let's be fair. There was a little something to that. George Bush was not a great president. And that's not that's not hard to understand. George Bush was a Democrat. I know. He ran as a Republican. He was elected by Republicans. But the most correct thing you can say about George Bush is he was maybe the least damaging Democrat president in history. He was the Democrat president that did the least damage to the country. Now, that's not to say that all Republican presidents have been good. Most of them have not. We do not have a history of great presidents. We have a few bright spots. Most of you cannot name the majority of the presidents we've had, let alone what order they appeared in. But you know the big names. You know the Bush dynasty. You know the Clintons, right? You know Obama. You know Reagan. So, okay, yeah, it's easy enough to remember, you know Carter. And Carter was just a dim light that hung at the bottom of the tree somewhere. You know, the truest thing you say about Carter is he was the least effective president in history. And the most we can hope for from Biden is that he'll be less effective than Carter was. That's the best we can hope for from Biden. You cannot hope for good things to come from Biden. It's that simple. But it's easy to remember the presidents that have been the president while you're alive. I'm about to be 40, so I just missed Carter. But okay, it's easy enough to remember the one before the one that was in office when I was born. Dave Bowen says Lincoln, Reagan, and Trump were the best the GOP ever elected. I'm with you 90% there. You should list Nixon there. Because let's be real, the more we've seen of what happened with Donald Trump, if you go back and study a little bit on the Watergate scandal, Nixon wasn't a crook. He was done dirty by the corrupt Democrat machine. Because what happened in Watergate is what happened to Trump. And the only real difference there is that Trump didn't get busted Trump didn't get busted trying to fight the Democrat corruption because he did it out in the open. So there was never the 17 minutes of missing audio. What happened with Nixon is the Democrat Party ran an illegal spying campaign on Nixon, and then some GOP party officials or party affiliates tried to bust that up, tried to break in and get evidence to prove that the Democrats were committing crimes, and they got in trouble for the crimes that they committed in pursuit of that objective. So basically the massive wrongdoing by the Democrats in the Watergate scandal got swept under the rug by a complicit media who was interested in attempting to politically assassinate a president. That's what happened in Watergate. But don't forget, you look at Nixon and you're talking about the guy that threw himself on his sword over Vietnam. Right? There's a lot to unpack there, but Nixon was not the crook that the world makes him out to be. And the fact that he resigned rather than be impeached, I don't think is an indictment of... I don't think that serves as a reasonable indictment of Nixon's culpability in that impeachment. I think that serves as a severe indictment of the impeachment process itself, which we now know, as of the end of the Trump administration, that at no point in history has the impeachment process ever been anything but a vulgar political tool. Now, there's a good argument to be made that the impeachment of Bill Clinton was a little more legitimate because what happened there is he perjured himself. He absolutely committed a serious crime. And that was the thing that he was impeached over. Now, of course, the media narrative over that was that he was impeached for infidelity and for improper relationships and having sex in the Oval Office, but that's not the case. He was asked to testify on that matter, and he lied under oath. He committed perjury. And so the argument for the legitimate argument for the illegitimacy of the impeachment of Bill Clinton is you can make a solid argument that what he got impeached over was a perjury trap, which is a dirty trick. The perjury trap is a dirty, dirty trick. And it's one that takes many, many shapes, and we've seen it go through a bunch of stuff. Steve points out the most entertaining thing about the missing audio from the Nixon tape is the same runtime as Arlo Guthrie's Alice's Restaurant. And there is a special place in my heart related to the relationships and the conversations that I had with my recruiters as I was joining the Army that comes from Alice's Restaurant. They had me out on that bench with Group F, with the father rapers and the mother stabbers. So, going forward, what we can expect to see from Biden is the blame game. He's going to try to take credit for everything that happens as a result of existing Donald Trump policies, which, by the way, will not be much because Biden has gone in to undo the good things that Donald Trump did already in less than 30 days. Okay, no, let me back up. So before the pandemic hit, Donald Trump had managed record-breaking economy, U.S. energy self-sufficiency. We became a net exporter of energy products, including oil, record low unemployment for every demographic subgroup, managed to back down North Korea to get them to back off of their nuclear testing, got us out of the Paris Climate Accords, which, and anybody who makes the argument now that was a bad move, even if you're completely bought in on the climate change narrative, if you're that dumb that you're completely bought in on the climate change narrative, which is not to say that climate change is not a thing, right? Or even that anthropogenic climate change is not a thing. But to argue that anthropogenic climate change is such a substantial thing that our only option for the survival of the human race is to spend trillions of dollars, which by the best estimates will not even address the catastrophic nature of the claimed danger of climate change, then it is as simple as you don't know what you're talking about. But even if you're that bought in, even if you're completely bought into that utterly fallacious narrative, and you still believe that Donald Trump pulling us out of the Paris Climate Accords was a bad move, you're not paying attention. The UN, right? The UN, the United Nations, the global He-Man America Haters Club, has said unequivocally that the United States does not need to be in the Paris Climate Accords because without the accords, we have done more in the U.S. to improve green energy standards and to reduce carbon output than any other nation in the Paris Climate Accords, and than would have been done by complying with the minimum standards of the Paris Climate Accords. Couple that with the fact that the Paris Climate Accords are a suggestion, not a mandate, for which the U.S. is primarily responsible for funding the enforcement and investigation of, and to which there is no compliance from the primary offenders, those being China and India. And at the end of the day, there is no argument for the Paris Climate Accords. No reasonable, intelligent person can make an argument for the United States' involvement in the Paris Climate Accord. So Donald Trump got us out of that. That was a good move. Joe Biden is already trying to put us back in. I'm still not sure. I haven't looked at it that hard enough to understand. I know he's moving to put us back in. I don't know if that has actually been achieved yet. It may have done. But so you've got this fantastic presidency leading up to now. And you remember how Obama tried to blame everything on Bush. Well, the presidency of Donald Trump, save for the pandemic, which was handled as well as it could possibly have been handled. And anyone who says different is stupid or lying. And I'll stand by that, and I'll argue that point every day. Anybody who says different than that is stupid or lying. Because what they're saying is that they know how better to have done it, and how better to have done it does not include travel restrictions to prevent the spread, or the historical, record-breaking rapidity of the development of an effective vaccine. Right? Their argument is that without doing those two things, they could have had a more successful response to the coronavirus pandemic. And not one of them will say what that alternative response was. See, that's the question. Every time you get hit with Donald Trump did this wrong, the first question to ask is, compared to what? Well, he mishandled the virus. He mishandled the pandemic. Okay, he shut down travel to China. Everybody who was critical of that said they would not have done that. At the time, not only did they say they would not have done that, they made overtures that they would have done something approaching the opposite of that. No, don't be careful and stay home. Go out and party in the streets. Go to the theater in New York. Go to Chinatown in San Francisco. They are either stupid or lying. Now, Tim Pool likes to beat on Hamlin's razor. Hamlin's razor says never attribute to malice that which could be attributed to incompetence. Well, there comes a point at which the consistent repetition of incompetence is no longer sufficient to distract from the assignment of malice. If somebody keeps doing the same bad thing with bad results over and over and over again, then the only expectation must be malice. One of my favorite examples is Obama and the Obamacare situation. For several years before Obamacare was implemented, the criticism from the right was, if you make this a mandate and add a penalty, there are so many things wrong going on here. For one, just like you see with college tuition, as soon as you subsidize the tuition and the cost of the tuition is no longer on the person making the buying decision, then the seller will artificially inflate their prices to take advantage of the subsidy. So if you say, I will give $10,000 per semester for each student that you enroll, we will assist them up to the $10,000 mark. Okay, all of a sudden, your $2,500 semester program, you're selling it for $10,000. Yeah, your students can still only afford $2,000, and they were taking a loan for the other $500. And now, oh wait, but the government's going to guarantee up to $10,000. So screw them. Let's bleed these poor schmucks for everything they're worth. That's how you got the ridiculous cost of the university today. Same thing happens with healthcare. All of a sudden, it's, oh no, your Obamacare plan is free if you're poor. No, it's not. It's $4,000 a month. And somebody pays that. Oh, the rich aren't paying their fair share. Fuck every bit of you. The bottom 50% of income earners in this country consume the entirety of the welfare state and contribute nothing to it. They pay no taxes. And the bottom half of them, maybe a little more than the bottom half of them, not only pay nothing in taxes, but they are net takers. They receive a refund, a tax refund, their child credits and the like, in the tune of a few $1,000s a year, a piece. So you've got a quarter of a 370 million person population taking several $1,000s a year from a system to which they contribute nothing. And you're going to tell me that the top 90% of income earners who pay something like 75% of all taxes are not paying their fair share? You're insane. Polytech did a show last night, and I missed it, unfortunately. I was busy with some other stuff. I got to go back and watch it. But just off the title, it said that it's pay raise season in Rockdale County. And they mentioned in the description that Chairman Nesbitt wants a raise. That's Democrat math. Chairman Nesbitt wants a raise. Now, why would anybody want a raise? To improve their quality of life. That's fair. That's fair. But let me ask this. Let's say he's looking for, say, a 3% raise in pay. How much have you increased the tax burden on the citizens of Rockdale County over the last, year, 2 years, 3 years? Is it more than 5%? So how about instead of taking more out of the pool, taking more out of the citizens' pockets, if you would just do some responsible bookkeeping and get your spending under control and reduce the tax burden on the citizens of the county, then you would also enjoy that rise in the cost of in the quality of life as a result of the drop in the cost of living. But he's a Democrat. It's not complicated. I've said this over and over again. Democrats, their baseline, because the baseline of Democrat policy is that it is morally preferable to cause harm and take from someone else than to earn yourself. Okay? So, and we're going to see this throughout the Biden administration. Oz Nesbitt is just a nice local example, a nice, concise local example. He would rather hurt as many people as possible by increasing their tax burden and then increase it further to give himself a pay raise than to do something that actively benefits everyone by reducing their tax burden. Because for the Democrat, causing harm is preferable to achieving goals. A Democrat will never sign on to a policy or a law that does what the Democrat says they want the law to do unless it also causes harm to a specific group. Now, sometimes that specific group is the entire American population. Increasingly of late, that specific group is white men. And I used to try not to go down that route and talk about the targeting of white men by the Democrat Party, but now it's just because there was vagary there a few years ago. But I mean, if you're missing that now, Koch's Be Less White campaign, the constant narrative on CNN that white supremacists are a greater threat than Islamic terrorists. That, I mean, for a person to believe that is for a person to ignore reality. to just not even. That is for a person to not even experience reality, not ignore it, to lack its experience, to be utterly external to the extent of reality. So, as we move forward with the Biden administration, what you're going to see is they're going to try to play that same blame game, but it's not going to be as effective as Obama playing the blame game, because Biden is causing harm at a faster rate than Obama could already, which is alarming. It's beyond me. Now, I will offer this defense. I will offer this defense for Biden. The attack on Syria. I'm not a big fan of the attacks on Syria. But Donald Trump did it right at the beginning of his presidency, and I supported that. And one of the reasons I supported that, and I support to a lesser extent Biden doing it as well. There's some fuzzy here, but let me make the point. So right off the rip, Trump and Biden have made this statement by launching attacks on military targets in Syria. They've made this statement to the world: we will use military force to retaliate against harm that's brought against our nation, and that's good. That actually makes Biden a slightly better president in at least that regard than Obama. I don't expect that it will translate forward, but it is a strong opening move. And it makes, hey, I've got a troll on Twitch. Who are you talking to? No one is in here. Okay, no one's there on Twitch. You're all by yourself on Twitch. What about Facebook, YouTube, and the dozen other platforms? Sweetheart, just go to a different channel. If you want to talk to somebody, you're on the wrong show. Go look us up on YouTube, Facebook. Hell, fucking Periscope is... There's people watching us on Periscope. Well, there's only one on Periscope. Periscope's about to die. It really... Of course I'm streaming to multiple platforms, shithead. No, okay, so I've got Bandadaza. That's an interesting name. So why are you so defensive? Okay. I don't usually get comments from Twitch, so I'm actually kind of amused that people are watching on Twitch. I stream to Twitch as one of the side pieces, but it's not my main show platform, and it's definitely not where most of my audience is. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you there, buddy. He's asking what's the topic here. So basically what I'm talking about is the blame game going into the Biden administration. Obama did the blame game on the Bush administration. Biden is going to do the blame game more and more on the Trump administration. So there's your little summary. For the Biden administration, it's going to be less successful, though, because Biden is going to fail. So, okay, this is going to be the last time I break my train of thought to address the commenter. He asks, are you a Trump or Biden supporter? Oh. Yeah, buddy. Dig the wall. I'm actually missing one hat from the wall because I wore it to a Constitutionalist convention on Saturday. But now, YB Styler, I will point out that there's one piece of paraphernalia there. That is a Ronald Reagan farm calendar from the Reagan Ranch, and I actually need to flip that up. And you're correct, Biden is a pedophile. Bandadaza says, I'm from Australia, and when I Google your name, nothing on any platform comes up. Am I missing something? If you're in Australia, you might need a VPN to watch this show, because we are very pro-Trump, very conservative, very pro-constitutionalist. And I'm an old combat veteran, so some of my stories might be too violent for the Australian media tolerance. So yeah, if you're in Australia and you're not finding us, it's likely that we're just blocked there. My audience is primarily in the United States and in active military combat zones around the world. Yeah, that's almost certainly something to do with it. And hey, I'm glad you two are watching from Twitch. And I'm having a little bit of a conversation with someone who's not my normal audience. That's fantastic. And hey, my favorite Ninja Turtle, Matt Parks, is with us. Good morning, brother. How you doing? Yep. And Matt, no shit, brother. You and I need to get together and have a beer. It's an absolute crime that you've been in this state for as long as you have, and the two of us have not been face to face for a cold beer. And yeah, we need to get together for a cold beer. And honestly, Matt, I need to get you linked up with the production crew for some of the comedy pieces we're going to be doing in the future. So anytime you could take a long weekend and I can schedule some production around that, and you come up here, we can meet halfway, or however we need to do it. We need to make some fucking comedy. I'll get Mario Romano up here too. It'll be epic. It'll be crazy. It'll be amazing. I think I may still have one of those giant IOTVs, and we can actually just do like a Ninja Turtle spoof with Matt Parks. So, I think I've railroaded myself off the topic rather substantially, just addressing a couple of comments from Twitch. But hey, no shit, guys. I really appreciate you guys on Twitch finding me. If suddenly we start to grow on Twitch the way we've been growing on YouTube and Facebook this year, that would be fantastic. But absolutely go check us out on YouTube and Facebook. Go check us out on YouTube and Facebook. We are also on, and I'm gonna go ahead and give the pitch and close out the show for this morning, because I'm already at a half an hour. Yeah. Parks points out gas is up to $2.74 a gallon. It's crazy. It was $1 cheaper 3 weeks ago, a month ago. Anyway, so do me a favor, guys. If you're watching right now, especially on the YouTubes, leave a comment under the video. Not just the chat here, but leave a comment under the video itself once it's published. That apparently helps the algorithm more than anything else. Like, share, and subscribe, obviously. And we talk about stuff on this channel that is likely to get us banned in the future. So there's always the brushfiremind.com. Well, brushfiremind.com. No indefinite article at the beginning. We're on Rumble. We're on Daily Motion somewhat sporadically, because my usual morning show is a little too long for Daily Motion right now. Rumble, Dailymotion, BitChute, PocketApp.net, MeWe, Parler. You follow us on Twitter. We're about to do something interesting. I don't want to spoil too much, but kind of keep an ear out, an eye out. We're about to do something new and interesting on Twitter that will hopefully start driving a lot of traffic. It should be a lot of fun once it starts going. And once we finalize that deal, I'll let you know more about that. That'll be fun. So yeah, make sure you check us out on those places, especially if you're not there and you're concerned about the censorship issue. Get over and check out pocketnet.app. And do it soon, because they're about to change their name. But pocketnet.app is a blockchain decentralized social platform, which means it is not that they do not censor. It is that censoring the material on the platform is technologically impossible. So you might run across some stuff that's pretty damn spicy, but more importantly, the stuff that they don't want you to see and hear will be there as well. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to sign off. I will see you guys tomorrow morning. YB Styler and Bandadeza, we do this every morning at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time US. So that's shit. What is that? 3:30 Zulu Parks? So yeah, I think that's 3:30 Zulu time, Greenwich Mean Standard. And hopefully I'll see you guys again tomorrow morning. Y'all be safe out there. Love you. Thanks for watching. And we'll see you in the morning.